Hi everyone! It was a little over 2 weeks ago that we left our vacant house in the hands of our local realtor to be rented out and made our way down to Guaymas. On the way we had 2 stops to visit friends and relatives, and now we're here at the boatyard. When we cross the border, we travel on Highway 15, which is a toll road. There are 3 toll booths between the border and Guaymas, and on our most recent trip, after paying tolls at the first 2 toll booths, we were puzzled at the 3rd booth when a flag-waving individual passed us through without payment. We stopped at the restrooms, which are located at every toll area, and as an aside, I might mention that they have always been very clean. When I asked the janitor at the restroom what the occasion was, she responded in rapid Spanish, and I am afraid my limited Spanish was not up to the task other than to glean the fact that it was only for that day. When we reached the boat, it was like returning to a familiar neighborhood. Changes had occurred during our absence. Potholes had been filled in, and an eatery we liked was out of business. At the boat, it was time to get down to brass tacks. We want to hit the water as soon as possible, and that means getting the boat ready for actually living in it. I have mentioned previously that I thought we were bringing too many clothes, and as I tried to stow our latest addition, I realized it was totally unrealistic to have the amount of clothes I had brought. I have thus far pared down enough to fill this duffel bag, which will go back to our storage container, and there will, I am sure, be other things that will be going back too. Finding places to stow things seems to be the key to comfortable living aboard the boat, and remembering where everything is will be the challenge. The former owners stored coffee beans inside the diesel heater, as was testified by the loose coffee beans I found. However, storing the beans in their original containers is not very efficient, and transferring the beans to plastic Ziploc bags will allow for more storage. I am employing the old trick of storing towels and linens disguised as throw pillows. I am also certain that some of the places I find to stow things in now will prove to be impractical once we are sailing. While I was trying to think outside the box in terms of stowage places, Lee was busy in the lazarette in his continuing quest to service all the seacocks, an outrageous 11 in all. While he was in the lazarette, he discovered more rotten hose clamps. Some of the hose clamps came apart as he removed them. Additionally, he rerouted hoses to ensure they do not chafe. On the safety portion of our survey, it was noted the batteries needed to be tied down, and Lee came up with an ingenious solution for the batteries located under the table in the salon. He drilled holes in the wooden cross pieces that fit over the battery box covers. What are you doing there, Lee?
Piecing together the brackets for the battery hold down.
You're using some L brackets?
Yeah, they're stainless steel L brackets, bolt them together, and there'll be thumb screws on the outside with T-nuts underneath holding everything together.
Because the bolts were too long for the brackets, Lee used his Dremel tool to cut off the excess. He drilled holes on the wooden facing in the battery compartment next to where the wooden cross pieces fit. Then, taking these T-nuts, he inserted them behind the facing and seated them by screwing in the bolts. For securing the cross piece brackets to the compartment facing, Lee chose to use bolts with crowns, which will allow for easy removal by hand without having to rely on tools. As we work on La Brisa, life in the boatyard goes on around us. Boats still continue to splash, but nowhere near the frenetic pace of early December. Even though we are all working with the goal of eventually splashing, time is made for renewing acquaintances and making new friends. A year ago, on our New Year's sailing trip in San Diego, we met Heather and Don from Victoria, British Columbia, on their Hans Christian 33. They were berthed next to us at the Harbor Police guest docks and on their way to Mexico. I remember Don telling me we should expand our boat search to Mexico. Little did I imagine that we would all meet again in a boatyard in Guaymas. Another couple we have become acquainted with is Christy and John, who homestead on Kodiak Island in Alaska. They are escaping the cold in Alaska and rehabbing a catamaran here in the yard before returning to their off-the-grid home. So, how does it feel to be living on the boat? It seems like vacation. Even though we are working on the boat every day, it is still new enough and different enough from our previous lives that at times it seems like a dream that we are actually here. As we know no better, life in the boatyard seems great, and if we have a few extra unplanned projects, it's not a big deal. I am sure that once we hit the water, our perceptions will change, and any future times when we are on the hard will seem like a drudge. But right now, we'll enjoy our time here.